Leeds United are having a very, very tough striker conversation at the minute. We all know it because it's hard to pick who will start in any given week. And it stems, in my opinion, from some concerns about one future superstar. So the big question that I'll try and answer in this video is how exactly Leeds United fix the Mateo Joseph issue, and I'll wander through what the problem is, what the differences are that are causing that problem, things that differ between opponents, how we create chances, and steps to get more out of Mateo. And hopefully we see a little bit more going forward into the future. But we've got to start by talking about what exactly the problem is. And the problem, if you look at his pure numbers, is pretty self-evident. Been watching him throughout the season and sort of keeping a close eye on the way that he's been playing, and I've been paying a little bit too much attention to his style of play and all that sort of stuff, and I've been relatively rarely looking at the raw numbers. For Leeds United, he now has 37 senior appearances, at least in the league, and he has scored 3 goals, which isn't great. Let's be completely honest, he is a striker. His job is to score goals and admittedly link play in a fair bit, but you've sort of got to score a few more than that. If there were other centre-forwards at the club that were getting those sort of numbers, we would have very, very loud complaints by now. We all know it. And then you compare that to what's happening at Spain, where for the under-21 side, he's played 5 games and scored 5 goals. This data might be a little bit out of date considering we've just had an international break, but again, he's looked really, really impressive in this international break as well. So what is the difference between the two? Because you can see that there is clearly a lot behind Mateo Joseph, a hell of a lot of talent, hell of a lot of potential. He's scoring for fun with Spain, but it's not happening at Leeds United. So we got to dig down. We got to find out where exactly the issues are and what the differences are, because clearly there's something different between what happens at Spain and what happens for Leeds. And you got to start out by talking about differences in the opposition. The majority of Mateo Joseph's matches for Leeds United have come against championship opposition. This is just the truth, because championshipy. A little bit of last season, a little bit of this season, but what you'll tend to find when Leeds United are playing against a side is they're happy enough to sit a little bit deeper. In the 2 seasons that Mateo has been playing actual consistent football at Leeds, we've been in a position where we're expected to win, which means the other team are happy enough with a draw, which means that they're okay to sort of say, okay, cool, we'll chill, we'll sit back, we'll be fine. And that is why you get into a situation where a striker tends to struggle, because they're not going to get those clean-cut chances like Mateo Joseph likes to get in the box. A lot of the goals he scored for Spain are when he's sort of doing poachery, fox-in-the-box things, waiting for the ball to come to him and just getting a very neat finish onto it, into a corner where a goalkeeper cannot get anywhere near it. On the contrary, for Leeds, the box is packed, rammed full of players, and I think he's relatively struggling in that situation. It's why if you look back at last season, the game against Chelsea, he excelled, scored twice. And I think that's because Chelsea were a little bit more open, a little bit more aggressive, and it gave him space to do his thing. There might be a little bit of adaptation needed from Mateo in this case, but there's a very, very clear fundamental difference there in that he's got a little bit more time when he's playing under-21 sides, because those sides want to impress. They want to play open stuff because they want to get picked up by the senior side. So if you're an under-21s team, you're not that asked about the result in comparison to when it comes to senior football, because at the end of the day, the goal there is to develop your players. There's no point playing dodgeball when it's at a youth international level, because you don't get anything out of that. No one improves. All you do is get into a situation where maybe you've ended up winning an under-21s Euros. Teams aren't doing that. Teams are going to play, and I think that's where Mateo Joseph excels. But we also need to look at the way that we create chances. Had a look at a lot of the goals that Mateo scored for Spain's under-21s, and there is a very, very consistent trend going on. Where they'll get to the byline, they'll cut the ball back, and he'll find himself with the ball at his feet in the box. It's a similar statistic to the one that I found towards the end of last season, where in terms of how close players took shots, Pirou was the furthest out. Pirou's average shot was from the edge of the box. Then it was Bamford. Then it was Mateo. Clearly, he likes to be very, very close to the goal. He likes to have that opportunity to sort of take a second, see where is available to him in the net, and just slot the ball there. He's a damn good finisher in those situations, but the way that we create chances isn't like that. We don't get to the byline, cut it back, and there'll be a striker there. We're more of that build-up-y stuff. We're more of that playing through the lines-y stuff. And admittedly, yeah, with Junior Firpo in the side and Dan James, we are seeing a lot more crosses coming in, but that's still not our primary way of doing things. And when Mateo was dealing with crosses, he prefers the low-driven stuff, and that's not necessarily what you get from a Firpo or a James either. Which is why I think he could be struggling. We're not creating chances in the way that he likes. We're creating chances a little bit more centrally, a little bit more passing quite a lot, and you'll be cutting in from the wings more often than just sort of drilling a ball in from the byline. And I think that is potentially causing an issue. But there are some clear steps that we can take to get a little bit more out of Mateo Joseph. So, first up, something that we did really, really well last season is focus on drawing their back line out. Get the game to be as transitional as we can, because that means that in the box there will be a hell of a lot of space. If they've been drawn out of position, if they're trying to press up to us because we've made them impatient, then you're in a situation where a Dan James sprinting down the wing is able to drill that ball into a Mateo Joseph, who, I don't know if he'll keep pace with him, but he'll do his goddamn best. And he'll end up on the end of many, many chances in that sort of situation. Because we've made it transitional, we've made it the perfect opportunity to create those chances. We need to get to the byline a bit more. It's something that Jayden Bogle is very, very good at. He's really strong on the overlap. However, most of the time when Bogle gets the ball after the overlap, it can end up with a shot. Similarly, Dan James, really good at getting to the byline. Manor Solomon likes to stay wide, so stay wide a little bit higher up. Same for Junior Firpo. And I think if we're doing that a little bit more, we're going to be creating those ideal chances a bit more often. But we also need to recognise that, and this is a direct counter to what I said about the youth international teams, there is a fundamental gap between how youth international teams play and how competitive senior teams play, where the senior teams need results, and they need results now. And the youth teams can focus on the development, and that's brilliant. But right now, I think we're in a position where we need to focus on results. So until we are in a position where we see we're getting those results out of Mateo, I think the best shout for the short term is going to be recognising the value in depth. Is going to be cool. Mateo's not there yet. We're not creating the chances the way that he needs right now. Start Piru. And then when he's coming off the bench and he's making those sparkling appearances like he was before, that's where you get Mateo starting more games of football. But till that happens, I feel like that would be a risk. So at the moment, I think the best way to get the most out of Mateo Joseph is to have him show up off the bench. Play against a tired back line. Maybe focus on trying to get those cutbacks if we are in the lead, because we can experiment at that point. We can try and work out what works for different forwards, for different wingers, for different combinations. And that is how I think we become a more flexible, versatile team that is able to beat more opposition, because we put ourselves in the shoes to be able to do that. Right now, I think Piru is the right player to start, but there is a hell of a player in Mateo Joseph, and there are some steps that we can take to improve him. But I don't know if that should be the priority at the moment. But at the end of the day, that is just what I think. As always, I'd quite like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed, and like the video if you enjoyed. Thanks, Brian. Subscribe if you're not yet. That is always really appreciated. You can even become a channel member. It is 99p for a month, and you get videos like this one early, and the uncut versions of Balls Knowledge and all sorts of stuff. It's great. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. I never know if I'm biased towards Mateo Joseph because he's stolen my first name as his surname. That might be the case. See you later.